All right, hello and welcome. Today's practice is called The Earth Moves Under My Feet. And it's a lot about grounding, stabilization. Also, I've been hearing a lot of students talk about having vertigo. So I wanted to kind of do some research, design a practice that might be helpful for those dealing with that because I tend to get it myself from time to time. So did some research, what does yoga, Ayurveda say about it, things like that. How can yoga be helpful? Of course, if we are very, very dizzy, we may not want to be practicing, but we could still do things like, seated poses, restorative yin type poses would be really best. But we can do a little bit more active practice if we're not overly dizzy, right? Because if we're overly dizzy, we're not going to be trying to stand up and do warrior poses, things like that. But if we have like a very mild case, which a lot of times we just have a little bit of it, we can do some standing work. We're going to do things like a little bit of balance work for focus. That can be really helpful. Poses where we're not doing a lot of quick movement. We'd want to do, slow movement, really focus on grounding through our feet so that we feel more stable. So a couple other ways that yoga can be helpful. I'll just share a couple of things with you. First of all, reducing stress. So we know that sometimes when we're trying to do too many things, we feel very scattered. We're not going to feel very grounded. So of course, things like being more grounded is going to help us if we're not feeling stable or feeling that sense of the earth moving under our feet. And even if you're not dealing with any vertigo, by the way, this practice is really helpful for just grounding in uncertain times because we are dealing with a lot of instability in general in our world and in politics and the weather, all different kinds of things. So it's a great practice even if we're not dealing with vertigo. So anyway, helping with the nervous system, helping with stress is important. And as far as Ayurveda goes, we have the three doshas, and Vata is the dosha of air and space. So if we're lacking earth element in our own constitution, maybe we're the kind of person that's, we're go, 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 getting all these things done. We're not really very grounded in our lifestyle. We have more air space in our natural constitution, in our body, and in our mind. We may even be a little bit more prone to feeling unstable. So creating more sense of connecting to the earth is going to give us the opposite of that air element. So reducing symptoms of Vata in the body and mind will be helpful. So we'll be doing some things like maybe some balancing, some focusing, a little twisting that will reduce Vata in the system. So reducing stress, balancing the nervous system, improving our blood circulation and our brain health. So some recent studies are talking about how when we have misalignments in our head and in our neck, this can influence our vestibular system. It can influence our balance. We're going to get less blood flow up into the ears and into the brains. We know that vertigo can sometimes have a lot to do with what's going on in our inner ears. So in that way, it can also be helpful because we're going to do some work today with the head and neck to help create better alignment, strengthen the structure around the neck. So we get things aligned and hopefully improve that blood flow to help reduce our symptoms. Of course, improving our balance so we're not going to fall over, hurt ourselves if we do get dizzy. So we'll work a bit with, strengthening up the feet, working on our balance in a mindful way. Of course, again, focusing on that sense of grounding while we're doing that. So those are some of the ways that yoga can be helpful. We're going to start with like some acupressure points. Also, when we have any kind of sinus congestion, that can influence and lead to more vertigo. So we're going to do a little acupressure for reducing pressure in our sinuses. Okay, so you can do this on your back. I'm going to stay seated because it'll be easier for you to see me on the camera. So if you want to stay seated with me, you're welcome to do so. If you want to come on your back, if it's harder for you to stay seated, you're a little tired after your day, you might want to put a pillow under your head and do this on your back. So let's go ahead and first sit up nice and tall. If you're seated, if you're on your back, relax on your back, any position that's comfortable for you. And let's come into our breathing. We're going to practice Ujjayi breath today. So Ujjayi breath is a little restriction in the back of your throat as you breathe in and breathe out. It's sometimes called ocean sounding breath. And the reason we're going to do this is Ujjayi breath can help with our vagal tone. So it has to do with our vagus nerve, a nerve that goes from our brain kind of down through the ears and the side of the neck and communicates with all of our organs in our body. And when we do Ujjayi breath, it creates this little vibration through the ears and the neck, and it can increase and improve our vagal tone, which can be important as far as vertigo goes as well. So let's go ahead and take a few moments. Maybe you want to close your eyes and come into your breathing in and out through your nose. Breathe into your belly, into your rib cage. And we're going to focus on nice, long exhalations. Long exhalations, we're getting rid of air in the body, right? So that's decreasing air and space element, decreasing vata in the body. So as you do your Ujjayi breath, find that subtle constriction in the back of your throat and a nice long exhalation. If you're seated, let the chin come just ever so slightly down and lengthen up through the back of the neck. That'll help with our head alignment. Balance your ears from right to left. And we're going to begin with our acupressure points. And we're going to start by bringing our hands to the tops of the ears. You're going to put your thumb right inside the cartilage and massage the top of the ear. And this is an important acupressure point. It's called the Shen Men, and it's one of the most calming points in the body. So when it comes to kind of bringing down our stress levels, this would be a good place to start. As we know that stress can just throw us off balance. So we want to calm the body and the mind. And you can either massage, you can just kind of hold these points that we're doing today. Take one more full breath in, full breath out, and we're going to stick with that Ujjayi breath throughout our practice. Long exhalation. And then slowly release. Okay, so if you're having symptoms, you might want to hold these points a little longer. I'm just going to kind of give you a little brief introduction to some of them. The next one, you're going to take your thumbs and place them at your inner eyebrow. And then I like to just bring my hands into prayer position. Again, you can do this on your back. And we're going to press the thumbs into the forehead and breathe. So these next couple of points are good for helping to drain the sinuses. So if we do have excessive fluid up in the head that's not draining downward, that can contribute to the feelings of vertigo. And I know that when we have low pressure systems, the storms come through is when I tend to get that, flare of vertigo, because the low pressure system is going to increase that feeling of pressure in the head if we have a fluid imbalance. Okay, release, take a breath. Now we're going to bring our thumbs again now to the bridge of the nose, right inside the corners of the eyes. Maybe your fingertips touch. You don't have to go all the way to prayer, but press on the sides of the bridge of your nose. Take an inhale and an exhale here. Keep breathing Ujjayi breath, long exhalation. Okay, now we're going to release and we're going to go to the corners of the nose. So I kind of use my middle finger here. This one's good for more nasal congestion. Press at the sides of the corners of your nose and breathe. So we're going from top to bottom, which is more grounding. Okay, slowly release. Now find the inner ear where that flap is called the tragus. You're going to go slightly below that, and that's kind of right where your jaw hinges. And we're going to press there or massage there. And breathe. These points are all good if you get headaches or congestion. Also, if we're getting a lot of fluid imbalance in the head, that could be related to our lymphatic system and blockages in the area of the neck, which we'll address in a little bit. Okay, let that go. Now we're going to bring our thumbs right under our chin, and this is for the submandibular lymphatic drainage. So you're going to draw your thumbs from the center of your chin all the way over to your ear, and then use all your fingers, and you're going to pull down those ropey muscles on the side of the neck all the way to your collarbone. And then let's repeat that. From your chin all the way out to the ears. And then pull down the sides of the neck. Let's do that again. This is encouraging the drainage from the head to move down to the collarbone, which if any of you did the lymph class with me, you'll know what we're talking about here because we're helping to drain the lymph down from the fluid imbalance in the head. So one more time. Okay. And then from here, we're going to go to the right underneath your collarbone and massage the inner underneath the collarbone. This is actually kidneys, but it's a good one for stress and calm. So go ahead and massage right underneath your collarbones a little bit. And then come to the center of your top of your chest. That's the sternum area, and tap. That's the thymus gland, which relates to our immune system. Just give that a gentle tapping. Full breath in, full breath out. And then from here, come right between the breast tissue and dig in there. And that's conception vessel 17. It's an important acupressure point in the body. And it's sometimes a little tender and sore in there, and you can massage into that sternum area, or just press, either way. Ujjayi breath, long exhalation. Good, and then bring your hands down to your rib cage, kind of right below your chest, but off to the sides a bit. And massage in here. These are points for the liver. Liver, of course, is part of our pathway of detoxification and very much related to our lymphatic system as well. Notice if any of these spots are tender or sore. You might want to work on those a little bit more. Okay, now we go to the navel center, and you can massage into the navel center. Good place for helping us to digest not only our food, but our emotions. So if we're stressed, giving a little massage to the belly can be helpful. 2 more points here. Now we're going to go an inch below the navel and press in here. And this one's kind of centering and grounding, connects us to the earth. It's really important, again, if we're talking about vertigo, because vertigo, we're not so grounded, right? We feel like we're not stable underneath us. Okay, release that. And come back into your breath. We're going to hit that last one later because some of you may have come down to your back. So I want to hit that one when we all come back up to sit. Okay, so if you did that with me seated, we're all going to come on our backs. If you're already on your back, go ahead and stay there. So I'm going to just go ahead and slowly come down. And that's the key. Of course, if we're dizzy, we want to make sure we're moving slowly. And then come all the way down, take a pause there, let yourself equalize. And then we're going to interlace our hands behind the back of our head. Now I'm going to come up for a moment because I'm going to just show this. We're going to be putting our thumbs right in the center of the back of the hairline. That whole area is called the occipital ridge, and there's an important acupressure point right in the middle of the back of the head. So go ahead and just interlace your hands and place your thumbs in the middle of your hairline. And then like you're walking up a rope with each finger, go one finger slide up, another finger slide up, and alternate your thumbs, just sliding up this little point. And it helps just to release tension in the back of our head. So you might think about your lifestyle, your habits, and what your neck position is throughout the day. Those of us who are desk workers, we sometimes get a kink in the back of the neck. Sometimes we do this in our yoga practice, and that misalignment can contribute to that lack of blood flow to the head. Now pause, hold that point, take your feet wide, and windshield wiper just your knees, but keep your head stable. So a lot of times when we do somatic work, we're rotating the head, but that can be problematic if we're dizzy. So here we're going to just keep our head stable. And this acupressure point is good for reducing vata. It's good for kind of calming the mind, called the wind palace, wind point. So again, related to the air element in the body. Okay, come back to the center and now slide your thumbs about a ½ inch to an inch off to the sides. And again, you want to think about pulling your thumbs upwards so you're feeling length and traction in the back of your neck. And then once again, windshield wiper while you hold those points. Those are gallbladder points that are recommended to work on for vertigo. But they're also good points just to do in the springtime, because springtime, liver, gallbladder are the active organs, active meridians in Chinese medicine. Okay, come back to center, release your arms down, and just feel the back of your head, back of your neck, maybe the energy flow through the back of your head. And then bring your chin towards your chest till you feel that lengthening in the back of your neck. And then lift your head up a few inches. And this is strengthening for the neck. Hold it. And then relax completely. Let's do that again. Chin to chest, lift the back of your head. Hold it. And then let it go. One more time, chin toward the chest. Lift the back of the head, hold it. Now this time, if you can, hold it a little longer. You want to work up to maybe 45 seconds to a minute. If it's too much, let your head come down. We're strengthening the structures of the neck. Chin comes down. And then let it go. Full breath in, full breath out. Okay, from here, let's go ahead and roll to our side. And again, you want to move very slowly if you are dealing with any vertigo. And then we'll come back into a seated posture. We're going to bring the soles of the feet together, knees apart, to hit that next acupressure point I mentioned. So it's between your big toe and your second toe. It's a liver point, and you're just going to massage in between your big toe and your second toe. Feel free to support your knees with blocks if you feel like you need that support, or sit up on a prop as another option. Good. Okay, and then let's release that and we'll come into cross-leg position. Again, so feel free to sit up on something if you want to sit up on something. And just getting to where we're going next. So I'm going to grab a pillow to sit on. All right. So again, sit up nice and tall. Balance your ears over your shoulders. Balance your rib cage over your hips. Keep that slight lowering of your chin so you feel really open through the back of the neck, that area that we worked on. And then from here, let's go ahead and slowly drop the head to the right. And as you drop the head to the right, draw the other shoulder down away from the ear. So we open up that pathway. That's one of the pathways of drainage from fluid in the head to come down and drain down. And slowly bring your head back up and take your head the other way and let the shoulder drop down away from the ear and just kind of notice that tightness in there. We all get it. Full breath in, all the way out. And back up to center. Good. Now turn your head to the right. And at the same time, draw your opposite shoulder a little back. Full breath in, full breath out. And you could certainly repeat any of these more than what I'm doing now if you are dealing with this, but I'm just gonna do once per side. Go to the other side, take your shoulder on the opposite side back a little bit so we open up the pathway of the neck. And back to the center. From here, chin down to your chest. And now stretch the back of the neck a little bit. And then bring your head back up. Maybe you're going to go to the back. If it's a little bit too much for you, you can skip going to the back, hold neutral for a moment. And now there's a difference between just dropping your head back and kinking your neck and slowly taking your head back while keeping the neck long. Good, all the way back up to the center. And one more time, drop your head over to the right and bring your other hand to the floor. And we're gonna squeeze the shoulder toward the ear and then relax it all the way down. Bring your head back up, drop your head down. Squeeze the shoulder up to the ear. And relax it all the way down. Bring your head back up and bring your right hand to the side of your head. Now press your head into your hand as if you're going to turn your head, but don't turn your head. And then feel the resistance, feel the muscles engaging, keep your spine tall. Good, and release. Other side, hand to the side of the head. Press, try to turn your head without turning it. Breathe in, breathe out. Good, and slowly release and pause here for a moment. Maybe come back to eyes closed or take a soft focal point. And we'll just do a little mantra practice. I'm present in my body. I'm grounded with the earth. I'm connected, I am safe, I am whole. Full breath in, full breath out. Okay, from here, bring your hands out to the side. Inhale, reach your arms all the way up. And as you exhale, draw down through the center. This is called the grounding breath. So think about all the ways that your attention is scattered, your energies are scattered, all the different directions you're pulled in, and just bring it all in. Let's do a couple more cycles. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, draw down through your center. One more time. Okay. So now we're going to do a little bit more active practice. Again, if you're in this position of having more severe vertigo, we wouldn't be doing this. This is kind of preventative. And if we had a mild case, we could go ahead and proceed. So let's go ahead and come into our tabletop position and we'll do our cat-cows. And I want you to focus on a slow movement and your ujjayi breath. Really press your palms down, get that sense of groundedness. So you're connecting to the earth. which is stabilizing. Make your arms strong, and then inhale, come into your arched back. Exhale, long exhale with Ujjayi breath. Rounding your spine and really let your head release, back of neck releases. And repeat on your own, going nice and slow. We slow down, good for our immune system, our nervous system. Good for grounding, reducing vata. So all the things we're trying to accomplish today, we're not going to be able to do if we move quickly. As you come into your rounded spine, you might add a little compression to your abdomen, because that'll also help reduce vata. It really connects a lot to what's going on in our digestive system and our colon. Now, after this next round, finish that exhale all the way out. And then let's go ahead and take a child's pose and pause. Let your head rest all the way down. Okay, from here, we're going to come onto our belly. So I'm just going to move these blankets back a little bit. So if we were dealing with vertigo, doing yoga, all the way on the ground, that could be a way to go, especially if we have a mild case. We can do things that were close to the earth. So we're not going to fall, we're not going to lose our balance, and we're keeping our head pretty stable. We're going to bring our elbows forward, bring our thumbs together, and go back to that acupressure point at the eyebrows. And let your head and your thumbs press in. Full breath in, full breath out. Always the Ujjayi long exhalations. And then to the bridge of your nose, press. Palms don't have to stay together for that one. Now this time, right below your cheekbone, in the center, in line with your eye. And that's an acupressure point that increases earth element in the body. It's grounding. And great for sinus congestion. Okay, release and bring your arms out in a wide position and come up high on your fingertips. Forehead down. Press your tailbone down, bring your chin in, and lift the back of your head. Keep pressing your tailbone down and see if you could lift one arm, maybe both. And if you can't do both, lift one at a time. Keep your neck long, keep your tailbone strongly pressing down. And then relax and put your forehead down or turn your head to one side. We're going to repeat that and add on. Come back to center. Fingers in a wide position. Come up on your fingertips. Press your tailbone down, the tops of the feet down. Lift your head without lifting your chin. Arms lift if you can, or you can do one at a time. If you can lift both, you're going to pull the arms down. Make a fist, pull the arms down. And then reach the arms forward. Let it go, turn your head the other way. Okay, come back to the center, slide your hands back, and press yourself into table. If you have a blanket down, we want to take that off now so we have some stick under us. So we'll take that out of the way. And then we'll take a brief down dog. Again, if we were feeling really dizzy, we probably wouldn't be doing this, but this is good for helping us to release the back of the neck. So as a more preventative pose here, tuck the toes, lift the hips. And as the head comes down between the arms, look back towards your toes, back of the neck is lengthened. And maybe you want to gently move your head a little bit, right, left, or yes, no. And just really loosen up, lengthen those vertebrae in the back of the neck. From here, go ahead and walk your feet forward, top of the mat. And as you come into halfway lift, let's watch that head position. Don't lift your chin and kink your neck. Fold forward over your legs, let the chin come in, crown of the head toward the floor. And then inhale, let's come all the way up, reach your arms overhead, and draw hands to heart. So sometimes when we do things like our sun salutations, half sun salutations, we might look up, but I'm going to recommend today that we keep our eyes more either on the horizon, so straight ahead, or at the floor, and that's going to decrease vata, that's going to help us feel more grounded. Okay, so separate your feet just a little bit, and let's inhale, reach the arms up. Bend the knees a little bit, fold forward over the legs. Halfway lift, back of neck long, and then plant your hands, step back to our plank pose, and we're doing our sun sals, but slowly. And we're gonna pause in plank, reach your heels back, reach the head forward. The chin is slightly in, so we are lengthening our neck. And then option to drop your knees, go ahead and slowly lower. Tops of the feet press, open the collarbones, lift up into cobra, but don't try again not to kink your neck. Lower down. Let's press to table and then back towards child's. So it's a little bit of a gentler sun salutation. And then downward facing dogs, intentionally slowing things down, which will create more stability in the body, the mind, balance the nervous system. Walk it forward, top of the mat. Halfway lift. Fold forward. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, hands to heart. Let's go ahead and go through that again. Inhale, reach eyes on the horizon. Exhale, fold forward. Halfway lift, lengthen the neck. Step back, plank pose. Hold plank for a moment and reach the heels and the head away from each other, and make sure your head isn't below the rest of your spine. Option to drop knees, lower down. Inhale, cobra, back of the neck long, gaze forward. Tabletop position, child's pose. Tabletop position, downward facing dog. Lengthen the back of the neck. Walk forward, top of the mat. Halfway lift, inhale, back of neck long. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, arms reach, gaze at the horizon. Exhale, hands to heart. One more time through, remember to incorporate your ujjayi breaths. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift. Step back, plank pose. Hold there, lengthen the neck. Drop knees if you like, lower down. Inhale, cobra, gaze forward. Exhale, tabletop to child's pose. Inhale, tabletop, downward facing dog. Back of neck long, take an inhale. Exhale, slowly walk it forward. Halfway lift. So of course we wouldn't be jumping if we're feeling any kind of instability or vertigo. Inhale all the way up, gazing forward. And hands to heart. Okay. So coming into just a mountain pose, right? That's such a good stable pose to be in. No risk here of falling. We can root our feet into the ground and feel that strength of the legs. So another thing that came up in the articles I was reading is that as we get older, of course, we're moving into more of our Vata years as we get older. And if we tend toward osteoporosis, lack of vitamin D, lack of calcium, and lack of bone density, that can be a contributing factor. So it's another way yoga can be helpful. As we connect to the ground, we build that bone density. So down dogs, we're building our bone density and our weight bearing. As we root our feet into the ground, you can feel that awakening of the leg muscles, build the bone density in the legs here. Let's pause, hands to heart. And then we're going to bend the knees and come into chair pose. So chair pose, another nice stable pose. What we don't want to do is stick our chin out in our chair pose. That's going to add that kink to the neck. So keep the back of the neck long and your lower back long, so we're not overly kind of arching our lower back here. It helps to kind of lift your hip points up and keep your chin a little down so we have more neutral through our spine. Hold here and press down into your feet and then pull the feet apart. And you'll notice how that wakes up the outer legs, wakes up the outer hips. So when this gets strengthened, it's very stabilizing for our pelvis and can be good for our balance. Good, come on up to stand, take an inhale and exhale here. And we're gonna build a little sequence here for our balance. Come back down, chair pose. Press down and apart with your feet. And I'm keeping hands in front of my heart intentionally because it gives me a more compact center of gravity and I'll feel more grounded, more compact. From here, we're gonna lift our heels off the floor and balance on the balls of the feet. Keep the inner thighs hugging in, strengthens the structures of the ankles, which is important for our balance. And then heels down, back up, mountain pose. Inhale, exhale here. Always keeping that gaze on the horizon, that connection to the ground. Adding on, bend the knees, chair pose. Lift the heels, balance. Hug the midline, maybe reach your arms up if you're feeling really stable today. If you're feeling a little dizzy, this is better, okay? From here, we're gonna rise up and see if you can keep those heels lifting. Again, you might have hands at your heart. Keep those inner ankles hugging in, press into the big toe mounds. And then heels down, hands to heart. Okay, we're gonna keep adding on. Bend the knees, chair pose. Weight is back in your heels. We're finding that neutral spine. Maybe the arms are coming up. Lift your heels. Rise up. Keep the heels lifted if you can. And then we're gonna come back to chair pose, but we're gonna see if we can keep those heels lifted as we come back to chair. Maybe we're bringing hands back to the heart. Check in with your neck. And then heels down. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, hands to heart. Okay, adding on again, we're gonna start standing on one leg in a moment. So if you need to, you can always be at a wall and you could hold onto a wall, a chair next to you, especially if you're feeling any shakiness, instability today. Bend the knees again. Chair pose, lift your heels. Rise up, mountain pose with the heels lifted. Gaze at the horizon, Ujjayi breath. Chair pose with the heels lifted. Chair pose with the heels down. Start to rise up to mountain pose. Come onto the ball of your left foot and maybe lift that knee up. Standing on one leg, we're keeping the gaze neutral. Our head hasn't been turning a lot in this practice. And then if you're stable enough, start to take that leg out to the side. Remember, you can always be holding onto a chair or a wall, and you can lift that knee a little higher if you can, and send the standing leg down into the ground. Firm that outer hip. Good, bring the knee back in and release. Other side, bend the knees. Chair pose with heels up. Mountain pose with heels up. Maybe the arms come overhead. Palms can stay together or they can separate. Chair pose, heels up. Chair pose, heels down. Standing on your left leg, start to come up, come onto the ball of your right foot, keep the shoulders back of the neck long, and then try to lift the knee. Root that standing leg into the ground. Feel that earth element in the leg. Feel like that leg is solid, and then maybe take it out to the side. And lift the knee a little higher, back of the neck long. Bring the knee back to center and release. Full breath in, full breath out. Feel your feet on the ground, one more breath. Okay, let's make sure we have our blocks at the top of our mat. Now we did do some sun salutations, but other than that, we're gonna not do a lot of flow, because flow is not so stable. Flow is more water element. It's flowing, it's not stable, it's not grounded. So we're gonna step back into poses today. Bring your blocks to the top of your mat if they're not there. And then inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold. From here, we're gonna step our right foot to the back of the mat and spin the heel down. And we're gonna bring the arms up into a warrior two position. Bending into the front knee, back toes turn in a little bit so we keep that lower back nice and open. Arms can go out to a T if you're feeling any sense of instability. Maybe you're gonna even keep your hands on your hips. And if you're working with me on the screen, you could even just gaze straight ahead for now instead of trying to turn your head. It's up to you. We're gonna press down into the feet. And as we press down into the feet, we increase earth element, we decrease vata, we decrease air. We're feeling more connected to the ground. And then, as you press your feet down, try pulling your feet apart isometrically. And that's gonna fire those outer hips. Those are muscles of stabilization for your pelvis and really helpful for your balance. So press down and apart with your feet. Now try the opposite. Press down and towards center with your feet. Notice how that's a little different. It's gonna fire the muscles slightly differently. Good, and then straighten the front leg. Bring your hands onto your hips and tip your pelvis toward the back foot, keeping the side body long, coming into triangle pose. Again, moving slowly, bringing your hand onto your shin, your ankle, or your foot, whatever works here, okay? And then take your top shoulder, roll it back. We're gonna keep hand on the hip for that more compact center of gravity. Open both collarbones. From here, if you want, take your top hand, wrap it around your back and maybe toward your front hip crease. And that opens up the collarbone, the neck a little bit. And then from here, we're gonna start to look down at the front foot. Looking down is gonna decrease vata, but also what I wanna do here is tuck the chin, lengthen the neck, and take that top shoulder back. So we open up that potential tightness in the neck where fluid can drain down if we are getting any kind of that sinus pressure or fluid imbalance in the head. From here, release your top arm up and come back into your warrior two. From here, cartwheel your hands down to your blocks, come onto the ball of your back foot, front knee over the ankle. And now try to balance your back foot from your big toe to your pinky toe side. Sometimes we roll in or out. So balance there and then hug the inner thighs in that sense of compactness to the midline. That gives us more stability, more strength. And then check in with your neck. Lengthen your neck. From here, let's go ahead, take a big step forward and fold over your legs. Inhale, let's reach the arms all the way up. Exhale, hands to your heart. We're gonna do that on the other side. So I'm gonna switch my orientation so I stay facing you. You can stay exactly where you are. And then we'll do our other side. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold. And then from here, we're gonna step our left foot to the back of the mat, spin the heel down, cartwheel your arms up, come into your warrior two position. Again, maybe you're putting hands on your hips. Maybe you're gazing forward toward the screen so you're not constantly turning your head. Or if you want, you can look in the direction of your front knee. Press down into the feet. So we activate that earth element, sense of groundedness, sense of stability. Maybe the arms are coming up. And we're gonna press down and apart with the feet. So we feel that engagement in and around the hips and the pelvis. When our pelvis is off balance, we're not gonna feel very grounded, and that can contribute to that sense of lack of equilibrium, lack of balance in the head and the neck. And now do the opposite, press down and drag your feet towards each other. If anything doesn't feel good, go back to the last thing you did that felt good. Sometimes dragging the feet in doesn't feel so good for everyone. Inhale, exhale. And then hands to hips as we straighten the front legs slowly and tip the pelvis. Keep that head nice and steady, lengthen side body, and come into triangle pose. And then you can hold your shin, ankle, or hand on block. And push down in the hand on the block, turn your chest open. Keep the hips drawing toward the back foot. And that'll help keep this bottom side very nice and long and open. Maybe you're gonna wrap the arm around the back. And then from here, turn your head to look down at your big toe, tuck your chin, and lengthen the back of the neck. And at the same time, open the top shoulder, the top collarbone. Press down with your feet. All right, go ahead and reach that top arm up, come back to warrior two. Again, moving slowly with stability. Cartwheel your hands down, come onto the ball of your back foot. Make sure those blocks are right under your shoulders. If you're reaching them forward, you're not gonna feel very grounded. And then balance your toes, big toe to pinky toe side, and hug those inner thighs into the middle. Good, move your blocks forward, big step forward, and fold. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Very good. Okay, we're gonna come back down to the floor for a little bit, and we're gonna come back up and do a little bit more balance. Let's inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Halfway lift. And then we're gonna step back to our plank pose. Knees can drop if you like, and lower all the way down to your belly. Just gonna move my blocks out of the way. Okay, we're gonna come into Sphinx pose next. Prop up onto your forearms. Again, poses where we're close to the ground. That's gonna be more stable. Breathe here. And then we're gonna be doing a new pose called the Sphinx twist. And again, twists can be helpful as they can decrease vata in the body. It kind of gives a little twist to the abdominal organs. And a lot of vata is held in the area of the intestines, the colon area. So from here, we're gonna roll to, I'm gonna go roll to my left so I'm facing you. So you can roll to your left too. If you need to roll to your right to see me, that's fine too. So we're gonna roll onto the hip, and then whatever leg is on the bottom, you're gonna extend it out to the side. And the other leg is straight back. So we've got 90-degree angles here. And then from here, turn your chest toward the floor. Get a nice outer hip stretch after all that standing on one leg. And turn your belly toward the floor. Press into your arms and lengthen the back of your neck. And gently engage your legs and maybe press your feet down a bit. Just be mindful of your knees. Hold it here for a couple more breaths. Really breathe into the belly, long exhales. All right, and now we're gonna slowly start to bring the legs back and come back to Sphinx. We're gonna do that on the other side in a moment. I'm gonna flip around so I'm facing you guys. Feel free to stay as you are, and you're gonna roll to your other hip. And then the bottom leg is gonna go forward. Top leg's gonna go straight back toward the top of your mat. And then rotate your torso. So your abdomen starts to face the floor. You're turning your navel, turning your belly. Press through your arms and then lengthen your neck. Actively engage the legs, but just gently. You don't have to go intense here. Hold and breathe. All right, slowly come back to the center, back into our Sphinx pose. And then we're gonna slide our hands back and press back into child's pose. Let's take a few cycles of breath there. Okay, from our child's pose, let's find our way into downward facing dog. And then walk the feet forward, top of the mat. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Very good. Okay. So moving into some additional balance, we are going to need to have a strap. So if you don't have one, grab a strap. Just set that on the floor for now. Okay, so standing on your right leg, we're gonna come into tree pose, but we're gonna keep the foot on the floor just initially. You'll have an opportunity to lift it in a moment, but I want you to just focus on the grounding aspect first. Standing leg rooted into the ground, and then let's do palms at the heart. Again, that closer center of gravity. Keep the back of the neck long and the gaze either at the horizon or the floor. What makes you feel most stable? Ujjayi breath, long exhales. You can stay right here. If those of you are feeling pretty stable, bring that foot up off the floor, either below or above your knee. And then hone the midline, press your foot and leg, also rooting into the floor. Keep breathing. And those of you who are feeling pretty stable, go ahead and take the arms up. Now, if we were feeling kind of dizzy, we'd want to keep that more compact center of gravity. I always find it challenging to talk and also balance at the same time. One more breath. And then when you're ready, go ahead and slowly release. Come down. An inhale and an exhale. Okay, go ahead, try your other side. Start in kickstand, heel above the ankle, hands at your heart. Standing leg, rooting down. Keep those outer hips firming. Remember all those muscles we worked on in the warrior poses. Let's keep those engaging. They'll help stabilize the pelvis. If the pelvis is kind of moving a lot, we're not going to feel very stable or grounded. Gazing either at the horizon or the floor. And you can stay right here if you're feeling kind of shaky, kind of wobbly, or we're going to bring the foot up, because that's going to be more vata the minute we take a foot off the ground. And the minute we would take the arms up, that's more vata too. So listen to your body for what's going on today. And root equally into the ground as you reach up. And firm the hips. One more breath. Good, and then slowly release. Full breath in, full breath out. Let's widen the feet a little bit and come back to that grounding breath before we do our next balancing pose. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, down through center. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, slowly down through center. Like we did all those acupressure points. We went from the top to the bottom, drawing energy down. One more. Good. Okay, let's grab our blocks and we're going to put those right in front of us. We may or may not need them depending on how you do here. Okay, so we're going to come back to chair pose. Weight goes back into the heels, find that neutral with the spine so we're not overly arching our low back or our neck. And then we're going to come on to the ball of the left foot. And from here, see if we can cross ankle over knee. Coming into a figure four. This might be where you stay. If you want to go further, you're going to start to hinge at your hips. Take your hips back, watch your neck position, and see if you might bring your hands to your blocks. And then once you get there, press your hands into the blocks. Maybe you bend that bottom knee a little bit more and send your hips back. Notice your neck. Maybe you need to lower your chin and you're gazing down toward the floor. Press that standing foot into the ground. Last breath. And then release your foot down. And inhale all the way up. Reach your arms overhead. Exhale, hands to your heart. Okay, we're going to do the other side. Come into chair pose. And then ball of the right foot. Figure four. Maybe you're staying right there. You can be at a wall, one hand on the wall, one hand on a chair in front of you for support. So get those if you need them. You can always pause and you can stay here, or you're going to come down, hands to the blocks. And then press your hands into the blocks. Make sure you're sending your booty back and your head forward. You're lengthening your spine, lengthening the back of your neck. A lot of times we come into this pose and we kink the neck. Full breath in, full breath out. And then release, foot to the floor. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Okay, grab your strap. Again, if you're feeling shaky, you're going to be at a wall or holding onto a chair. So we're going to try Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana, another balancing pose. So again, balance is helping our focus, helping our groundedness, helping us kind of stay in that midline, stabilizing the pelvis, strengthening our ankles, all the things that are good for our balance. So we're going to stand on the right leg. Put the strap around the left foot, and then we're going to bring that foot up and just start like tree pose. Hold on to the strap, open the leg, lift up through the crown of the head. And then gradually you're gonna lift that knee up. You can stay here. You can also just repeat tree, be holding on to support, or we're gonna extend that leg out. And you might wanna keep hand on hip, gaze at the horizon, compact the hips, standing leg roots into the ground, back of the neck long. Good, one more breath. And then slowly rebend the knee and release down, back to stability. Full breath in, full breath out. Okay, let's try that on the other side. And just know it's okay if you are a little wobbly. It's very challenging to do all this work. So do the best you can, and you don't have to get to that full pose. Do what works best for your body. So we'll stand on the other leg. We're gonna bring that knee up and hold close to your foot. Find a tree pose for a moment. So we open up the knee. Hand can be on the hip or out to the side, what helps you feel more balanced. Keep that standing leg firm. And then lift the knee out to the side. That might be where you stay. Or we're gonna extend that leg slowly out to the side. Keep the chest open. Standing leg rooting down, back of neck long. Gazing at the horizon. One more breath. And then rebend the knee, and let's release that foot down. Set your strap to the side, back to stability. One more breath here. Okay, from here we're gonna come down to sit. And those of you who can, we're gonna sit on a block in this pose where we're kind of sitting on our heels, but we're on a block. And then keep that strap nearby. If there's no loop in your strap, make a loop. And you're gonna open the loop up, and I'm gonna have you slide it over your thighs. Put that buckle in the middle and tighten it up. Okay, if you can't do this, you're just gonna do a simple seated twist. You can sit cross-legged if this is too much on your knees. Okay, so let's sit up nice and tall, balance the ears over the shoulders, balance the rib cage over the hips. Now we're gonna be coming into a twist, and we're gonna use the tail as a little bit of addition to help pull. Remember, twisting is good for reducing vata in the abdomen, reducing the air element. So we'll inhale, reach the arms up, and we're gonna twist to the right, and you're gonna bring that tail behind you. Take your right hand behind your back and pull on the tail. Take your left hand over to the strap on your thigh, and you're gonna pull on both straps. Remember, we did kind of something similar with the triangle pose, and we're opening the area of the neck. Pull on both straps, and you're gonna get that right collarbone open, right front of the shoulder open. Keep your head in line with your sternum. So sometimes we turn the head and neck more, but I want you to just keep your head in line with the sternum for this practice today. And breathe, and you're just pulling on those straps, and you're lifting up through the crown of your head. So try to do some work today where we're not making any quick movements. We're not turning the head a lot. We're keeping the head stable. Good, very slowly release. Pause in the center, back of neck long. Now take that tail to the other side. Might be helpful to even switch your strap. I'm not gonna bother to do that. I think it'll be okay for me. But if you feel like it's not working with your strap, you can always flip it. Okay, inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, twist, and then that left hand's gonna go around your back, grab the strap, right hand's gonna grab the other side of the strap. And again, if this is too much, you're just doing a cross leg twist and you're not worrying about the strap at all. You're still getting that benefit. This is just a little bit more with the shoulder and the neck. Pull on both ends of the strap. Keep nice tall spine and head in line with the sternum. Back of the neck nice and long. Just breathing here. One more nice full breath in, all the way out. And slowly release. Come back to center and pause. Okay, let's go ahead and slide the strap off. Take it off to the side. We don't need that right now. Come off of your blocks and let's straighten the legs out for a moment and sit up top. Okay, next we're gonna move into a forward fold, but we're gonna use some props if you have them. Forward folds can decrease vata as well. You don't need the blocks. You're gonna find something to sit on. It could be a bolster or maybe a pillow that's nice and firm. So I'm gonna fold my really thick blanket up. I'm gonna sit on that. And then grab some other kind of support for under the backs of your knees. So I'm gonna use my 2 yoga blankets and I'm gonna kind of either roll them up or fold them up so that the knees have a nice bend in them. And take the legs over the blanket roll. Make sure your sit bones are drawing back and apart. Because if I try to fold and I'm tucked under, there's nowhere to go. I'm gonna just get stuck. So if I get those sit bones back and apart, I can get that hinge from the hip creases here. Actually, it might be nice to have the blocks. I'm gonna grab those. Because if you are able to, and you have the range of motion, it might be nice to support the head, and that can decrease vata as well, be calming for the mind. So the blocks can be any height that works for you. We're gonna slowly start to hinge forward and bring the head to the block if it works. Now, I'd rather have you not get all rounded and hunched over to get to the block, so only if that feels natural for you, so that you can keep that back of the neck long and the lower back nice and open. And with the addition of the knee bend and the props under the hips, it becomes a little more forgiving of a forward fold, and then perhaps we can hold it a little longer. So go ahead and just come into it, hold it, and we'll stay there for a minute or two. And as your body releases, sometimes I find I can lower the blocks. Let's go in for our Ujjayi breath and long exhalations. And staying there if you can a little while longer. Okay, we're gonna very, very slowly now start to come up and keep your head heavy. Then we're gonna walk the hands up the thighs and your head is gonna come up very, very last. And then eventually balance your head right over the spine. Pause there without moving too quickly. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and take those props out of the way. And we're gonna come down onto our backs. But I'm gonna suggest a couple props set up. We're gonna come into our legs up into an inversion. So I have 2 blankets here. I'm gonna open them up so that they're like this. Put the fringe end toward you and the smooth edge back. I'm gonna leave enough space here for your head. Props are out of the way. And then we're gonna take supported bridge. So have a block, okay? Now, from here, we're gonna put our shoulders on the bolster and the head's gonna come down a little bit, but as soon as I lift my hips up, that won't be so much of an issue. So at first, you might feel like your head's dropping back a little bit. Make sure that your shoulders are maybe like 2 to 3 inches from the top of the blanket. Some of us are gonna move into plow pose. So if we look up kind of the best poses for vertigo, it's one of them that comes up a lot, which really surprised me. But the reason is it stretches out the back of the neck a bit. So it opens up the back body where maybe we have some tightness that influences the flow of blood flow to the head. So from here, you can stay in supported bridge, or we're gonna bring the legs up and come into a little inversion. Now, if this is too much, feel free to just keep the feet down. That's okay. Make sure shoulders are a little tucked down so the chest feels open here. Some of you might want to stay right here. If you want to move into plow pose, bring the legs down for a moment. The block is a little boost. You can keep it there if you want, or if you like to come entry into plow pose without the block, you could also do that. We're going to bring the knees up, lift the hips up, and see if you might take your feet all the way back. Tuck your shoulders under, and then arms can be on the floor, or you could clasp your hands and lengthen the back of your neck. And this also decreases vata. I'm gonna try not to turn my head because you shouldn't really do that in this pose. So don't look at me. Keep your head neutral. And feel all that compression in the belly if you're in this pose to decrease vata. Try to breathe against that compression. You might press your shoulders down to kind of lift your hips up. You can stay here as long as you like. If you want to come out, come out. And if the feet don't get to the floor, you could pause the video. You could put a chair under your feet or a bolster. 1 or 2 more breaths. And then when you're ready, we're going to very slowly start to release and carefully hips back to that block if you're using it. Feet back down, back to supported bridge. Take a full breath in, full breath out. Okay, go ahead and slide the block out to the side, and we're gonna roll to the side. Have a pause there, don't move quickly, try not to pop up real quickly. And then we're gonna slide the hands back and carefully come up. Okay, so whatever prop you have that might be something equivalent to a bolster. I'm just going to take these 2 blankets that were just stacked and fold them in half, and that makes a nice little stack that I can come into another twist. And I'm going to put the props off to my right side. You can do either side that makes sense for you as far as looking at the screen. So maybe you also want something under your head. So I'll grab my pillow. Especially if you feel like your head drops back, that's not going to be so good if you do get vertigo. So putting that prop on your head might be nice. Now, feet flat, we're going to offset the hips over to the right. Well, I'm sorry, I'm going to my left because I want to face you. So I'm going to scoot my hips to the left and extend my right leg. From here, I'm going to bring my left knee up and in toward my chest and over into the twist, and adjust your bolster that you created there so that it's under your shin, your foot, and your knee if possible. Now, if your leg bone is longer than that, see where it feels best for you. And you're on the bottom hip, but then can you even out your shoulders so your navel turns more toward the ceiling? Arms out to a T, and the head is going to stay neutral. So sometimes we turn our head away from the knees or toward the knees, but for today, let's keep our head center so that we're not turning the neck. And breathe here. Let the shoulders sink downward. Feel that sense of the earth element. Find your ujjayi breath. And we're in a twist, decreasing vata. And we're close to the ground. We're holding. A more restorative pose is going to be good for if we're dealing with any kind of vertigo or feeling unstable. And this whole practice is really grounding if we've been, feeling unstable in our lives for any other reason. It doesn't have to be vertigo. Let's finish out this next exhalation. And then very slowly starting to come back to the center, even yourself out. Take a pause. Full breath in, full breath out. And then we're going to move our props over onto the other side. Okay, and now shift your hips over to the opposite side. Straighten the leg closest to the bolster, depending on what side you started on. And then we're going to bring that leg across and support your knee, shin, and ankle if possible. And then once you're there, even out your shoulders and turn your abdomen more toward the ceiling. Arms out to T and keeping your head neutral. Come into your breathing. And let everything sink downward, let go of all your effort. A lot of what we did today, grounding, a little bit of twisting, a little bit of forward folding, decreasing vata, and the balancing for our focus, for our grounding, acupressure points for encouraging fluid drainage from the head. And we'll do our Shavasana. We're going to finish with 2 more acupressure points after Shavasana. Okay, last breath here. And then we're going to very slowly start to come back to center and even yourself out. Now, if you have props at home that you might be able to elevate yourself for Shavasana, I would include those. Those of you have a bolster or firm pillows. If you elevate, it can encourage drainage. So I'm not going to take time to show that, but if you like to do an elevated Shavasana, you can go ahead and put your props up on maybe a block to elevate yourself. Let's go ahead before we do that though, let's bring knees into the chest, have a little rocking action. Relax through your lower back. If you want to move into happy baby, you can also take your feet up, hold the edges of your feet, and come into happy baby. Keep that neck long here. Sometimes we round the back and our chin comes up and we kink the neck. Let's see if we could not do that. So if we need to, we can always bring our hands down to the ankles so that our spine stays more neutral. And then let's hug knees back into the chest. And then whatever you were using for your bolster, you could put that under your knees. So I'm just gonna bring that over and slide the legs out. We'll come into Shavasana. I'm gonna be coming up, share a reading with you, but you can go ahead and take your time, get settled. I'm gonna make sure I roll to my side, come up really slowly, and the head's gonna come up very last. So always, always make that transition to seated a slow one. But for now, staying in Shavasana and be in this most stable pose on your back. Now, if your head tends to drop back and your chin lifts, please make sure that you have support under your head. And even if you elevate yourself with a bolster, it might be good to have something under the back of your neck. Come into a nice soft breath. You can let go of Ujjayi breath now. And just let your breath be soft. Let your shoulders melt down. Let the back of the neck relax. This is written by Aubrey Marcus. You are comprised of 84 minerals, 23 elements, and 8 gallons of water spread across 38 trillion cells. You have been built up from nothing by the spare parts of the earth you have consumed. According to a set of instructions hidden in a double helix, small enough to be carried by an egg. You are recycled butterflies, plants, rocks, streams, firewood, wolf fur, shark teeth, broken down to their smallest parts and rebuilt into our planet's most complex living thing. You are not living on Earth, you are Earth. So I wanted to bring that one in because those of you who are practicing with me in real time, we just had our Earth Day yesterday, and this practice was very much about grounding and connecting to the earth beneath us, feeling stable in our minds and in our bodies. Now, of course, you could stay in Shavasana as long as you like, and you can come back to finish the acupressure points later. If you'd like to finish with me now, you might just slowly deepen your breath. Try not to make any sudden movements. Move very, very slowly. Take your time. Eventually, you'll come over onto your side. And remember, you're going to just go really slowly. Keep your head heavy. Use your arms to slowly press yourself up. Let the head come up last. And then find your way into a seated position. Again, stacking your head up with that little bit of dropping the chin so you feel open through the back of your neck. And let the shoulders drop away from the ears, freeing up the sides of the neck. So those of you who are on my Facebook page, I shared a little video about an ayurvedic technique for vertigo. There's this lovely Indian woman who shares her Ayurvedic wisdom through YouTube. But I have found that acupressure is one of the most easy and quick, effective ways to manage my own vertigo. So she shared this technique that I'll share with you now. And if you want, it's posted on my Facebook page. You can find it there. If you're watching this months later, you're not going to find it, but you can always message me and I can get it to you. So I'm going to do 2 acupressure points. The first one, you're going to find your thumb and you're going to press with your opposite thumb on the inside of your fingernail, closer to your index finger side, right? And you're just going to press there and hold it. Now, she uses something called methi seeds, which are fenugreek. And she says that these seeds are anti-inflammatory. And what she did is she put the seed on this point and put tape, surgical tape around, and then you can leave it on all night. So you have continuous acupressure here. Of course, this is not a cure, but it can alleviate your symptoms temporarily. I also use the C-bands. You can get them at the drugstore, on Amazon, and you can put an acupressure point on your inner wrist or your inner forearm, and that can also be really helpful. I wear those at night. The methi seeds are like really cheap. You can get a whole bag of them, like thousands of them for $5. And then the surgical tape. So that's another way to do it. So we're holding that point now, but you could also use it with the seeds for continuous acupressure. And you're going to hold that for a couple of breath cycles. And if you were having, more severe symptoms, you'd want to hold this longer. I'm just doing it for demonstration purposes for a shorter amount of time. So nice full breaths as you press that inner thumbnail side. And then let's slowly release, and we're going to do the second one. So if you were using the methi seeds, the second one would go between your ring and your pinky finger. We're going to use our thumb to press. So you would put the seed in there and tape it on. I find just doing with this without the seeds is just as effective for me. But if you want continuous acupressure, you can put the seed on there for that extra acupressure. And breathe. And those of you who are joining in-person classes this week, I have the seeds and I'm going to be giving samples of those out so that you can try this technique if you like. Okay, slowly release. And just by doing that for a little bit of time, I noticed I just feel a little more clear in my head. So I think there are additional benefits in addition to just vertigo. Let's go ahead and bring our palms together and we're going to come to a close. Last little quote from Thich Nhat Hanh. You carry Mother Earth within you. She is not outside of you. Mother Earth is not just your environment. In that insight of interbeing, it is possible to have real communication with the earth. And that is the highest form of prayer. Take an inhale, and as you exhale, bow into your heart. Namaste. All right, thank you everyone. If you joined me for our 6-week series, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you again in the fall. If there's enough interest, we'll do another Zoom series then. And thank you for being so understanding. I'm so sorry for messing our dates up. Like I said, a lot of family things going on in the last couple weeks, and I don't know how it got confused, but I did. So thank you for your understanding, and I will see you again soon. Namaste.